Hi everyone, welcome to Carolyn Talks. This is the podcast / YouTube channel where I, your host, Carolyn Hines, film critic and journalist, speak to film creators around the world about their work, the industry, and what inspires them. And today I'm very happy to be joined by filmmaker Lakshmipriya Devi to talk about her film, Boong, which is a feature film about this little boy, Boong, played by Gugun Kipgen, who is very precocious. That is when I made my notes, the very first word I wrote down is precocious.
Yes.
And he's on this quest to find his dad because he thinks his dad moved away from Manipur where they live, and he thinks if he brings back his dad, it's gonna not necessarily bring the family together, but just make his mom happy. That's just the entire thing.
Yes.
He wants to make his mom happy. But in this quest to find his dad, like we get the politics of Manipur. Like there's colorism, there's tribalism, there's ethno racism, and the film talks about all of these things in a very easy way. And I love films like this. So many films I've been interviewing, doing interviews for are very much like this, and I love when you're not preaching to the audience, but you're just saying this is just how life is, but pay attention to what's happening. So but thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my first question, I always usually like to ask my filmmakers sometimes, what got you into filmmaking? What inspired you to become a writer and a director?
Firstly, I was applying for MBA exams. That's the Masters of Business, and that was in my third year of college. And I just happened to take part in an India quiz show. It was a televised event, and it was exactly a month before our final exams. I came back to the hostel. I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. I sold my tutorials the next day. I treated my friends to snacks with that money, and I said, okay, I'm going to study film. So there was no MBA and no corporate. Overnight, it was like that. So my life has been filled with like happy accidents like that. So I found an institute which was in Delhi where I was studying already. Got in there, and the exposure to cinema. I mean, I was watching films before that, obviously as an audience, but just to know what goes into making, what kind of different cinemas are there in the world. That was amazing experience there, and I made really good friends. And somewhere along the way, I wanted to write more than direct.
Right.
Because I don't know how to speak properly, so with writing it gave me confidence to express myself on paper and not worry about how you're pronouncing words. So I always wanted to write poems, to scribble essays and stuff like that. But when this story happened, it was some kind of memories that I was just writing down like an essay, which became a script. I never thought it was going to be made into a film, and directing it was a real bonus for me. The main thing was writing it. If I have to do something later in future also, it'll be always the main thing is writing. If I get to direct it, it'll be a bonus.
Right, because this is your debut film, so I have to say, first of all, congratulations for pursuing it at and I'm just mean this like truly respectfully, at such a mature age. You're like, it's not over for me. I can pursue a new career. I can make a film for the very first time.
Yes.
At my age, and I think that's like really fantastic. And kudos for you. I have to give you like props for that, just in general.
Thank you.
Because especially as women, like when we reach a certain age, people say like, well, why you want to go and try and switch careers or try something new? It's like filmmaking is not easy. It's a very labor-intensive process. But you're like, no.
Yeah, I just whatever happens, I just love it that life surprises you. At least for me.
Right.
And there's I don't know if you've heard of Jeffrey Baba. He's an architect in Sri Lanka. He was a lawyer. At 44 or 45, he decided to chuck everything, big lawyer, and study architecture. And he came back to Sri Lanka and built the Sri Lankan parliament. And when I visited Colombo, I went to the place where he lived. I don't know, that story really was like, I was like, wow. You can do anything anytime actually, and that's if you don't allow yourself to get pressured by what other people are doing, because everybody has their own time zone. So I'm so glad I made a film now and not when I was younger, because I might not have understood certain things. Like things changes perspective with age. What I was believing in the 30s, 20s and 40s are very different from what I'm believing now.
Right.
So I'm so happy I made it now.
And I think that's great. Like for me, I relate to that because I'm 41 now, but I was going to school to be a paralegal, and it was about, I had like a few semesters left, and I was sick. And while I was sick, I needed something to distract me. So because I took like about 6 months off, and I just started writing about films and TV shows on like I had like a Tumblr page, and someone was like, why don't you pitch to a website? And I did, and I fell in love with it. I had always loved talking about film and loved talking. I never really thought about actually pursuing it as an actor career. And I went back to school and I was preparing for my exams and everything. I was like, I know I always say, I'm like, if I'm gonna do a job that stresses me out, at least I want to do a job that really truly makes me happy and makes the stress worthwhile. And so I graduated and now I'm doing this. I'm not a paralegal. I'm doing this, right? So I totally relate to that because like sometimes you just gotta do what makes you happy.
And it just happens, you know. It's as if the universe is surprising you, so just embrace it. I go very much with my instinct. Whether it's in hiring crew or what I'm doing, like, you know, it's just like, okay, I have to do this.
Yeah. And it makes sense. And I think it's fascinating that for your first film, you didn't really make a film with about adults. You made a film about a child, about this little boy who's precocious, and he's going through this, like he's trying to assert his own independence as a child. You know, he's figuring out his own identity, and like he starts off with like going to a local school, and like they're speaking, is it Métis?
Yeah,
Métis. Métis, that's okay. Because I was doing a little bit of research on the language, and so like they're doing that, but he is fascinated with the world at large, you know. And like the teacher's like punishing him for like shooting the school sign with a slingshot, and they're like, you have to make the kids repeat a prayer, and he's literally making them repeat the lyrics of like a virgin, like Madonna. But you get that sense of like that's who he is. He goes against the grain, you know. He goes the opposite direction. So talk to me about just developing that character because he's so interesting.
Boong is a combination of so many people I know. He has parts of me. Parts of all I was in a hostel since I was 10 years old. So you know how when kids are sent away from home, you become independent and also very, very precocious and the naughty. So it's a combination of a lot of my friends, and we were in a hostel. Actually, you're parentless, kind of. Yeah, you have a warden. You don't have a parent, you become independent, which is actually kind of situation that Boong is in. He has his mother, but it's not a complete family.
Right.
So there's something, he's not just a son. He's now at that age where he thinks also maybe he's replacing the kind of protection the father would have given the mother. So yeah, a lot of combinations of many things went into making Boong.
Yeah, because you know there's this thing where people put this pressure on children to, like, for instance, if it's a single parent household, so you're the man of the house now, you know. And it's like, why would you tell a child that he's not a man, he's a child?
Exactly.
And his job is to be looked after, not to take care. You know, like he doesn't have that. And I love that his mother actually doesn't put that pressure on him. She's just about letting him be a child, but of course a child within reason, because she doesn't let him run rampant. She doesn't let him, like, she doesn't, when he does something wrong, she automatically first thing takes up protection for him, but then she also like questions him, you know. She's like, why did you do this? Like she does. And I love that about her, where she's very aware that her son is not like other kids. He's very individualistic, he's very creative, you know, he thinks outside the box. I love that about him. So talk to me about the moms, because they complement, because as a parent and child, people don't generally think that parents, especially in fiction films, that they're supposed to complement each other, but I think they do. I think as like they kind of balance each other out, especially because it's just the two of them, but they balance each other and like they complement each other.
Yes, they do complement each other, but at the same time, the mother's character is not just the mother; she's also the father. So you know, she is not the typical mother. She's not going to mollycoddle him or, oh yes, it's so good, why is the principal screaming at you, whatever. She doesn't do that. She lets him grow. And she's attached, as well as detached. Which is, I think she's playing the male as well as the feminine
Right.
and masculine side. That was what I really wanted in a character like her. I think she's, again, bits and pieces of me and my friends, who will be like, if a child is crying, she'll be like, okay, just cry far away, it's hurting my ears, you know, just so that they know that you can't get away with using those tools.
Yeah, she's very because another thing she does, she's very vocal.
Yeah.
Like when people have tried to like browbeat her because she's a single mother, because the husband ran off, like they tried to like judge her, you know. But she's like, she doesn't take it from anyone. And I just got this film, we have to wrap it. But so like, I think one of my last question I really want to ask you is, I mentioned at the beginning how the film talks about like racism and you know, like xenophobia and all that within the culture, but you're showing it from like Boong is kind of just like an observer. He experiences it, and he knows that what's happening is wrong, that the things people are saying to him are wrong, but it's not that it doesn't impact him, but he's very quickly able to say, this is wrong, but I'm not going to let it disturb me. I'm going to keep going because I have an objective in mind. Talk to me about that, about how you're showing these cultural issues within the society, but you're showing how, for Boom, he's like, I have an objective and I will not let this distract me. He's like, if I have to deal with it, I'll deal with it another time. Because I think it's interesting because you get like the scene at the border, you know, where there are like all of these issues with him and his friend, but he's very single-minded.
Yeah. So the thing is, you know, this divide happens everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was actually a reverse racism kind of in my film. You know, and either all the characters are the same, or there has to be somebody who's like offsets,
Right.
which is what Boong does. It's not like he's preaching and saying that this is wrong or this is, you know, but it's a way of him making up. Like, for example, when he comes, Raju comes back from the border,
Right.
and he said, you can call me dumpling, you can call me big monkey. It's of kind of saying that I forgive you, but without saying I forgive you.
Right.
And there's acceptance.
Right.
And which also, with that acceptance, I think the Boong's character for me was very important, that even though he's a child, like at 10 years old is that age when you start questioning. And the kids are like open, you know, it's a blank paper.
Right.
But for him, I think the thing is that always moving on. And it always happens, I think, when you don't have a somewhere, the father figure always for a son is somebody who will always protect you, will always, so he doesn't have that. I think that makes him also independent, A. B, both him and his mother are actually like outsiders in their community.
Right.
So they have to fend for themselves.
Right.
You know, and I think all that, whatever he is, he picked up from his mother. He's very much like that, like in his attitude with Raju, or matter of fact, cut the crap. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you're a bigot and I'm not like gonna let it disturb me.
Yeah. Very like his practical, like his mother, and kind of, in some sense.
Yeah. We have to wrap it up, but thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, it was fun chatting with you and making it so easy.
I'm glad you
I hope I answered all your questions properly, but
No, you did. I like your perspective. I have more questions to ask off, but no, thank you so much for talking.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.